If I told you that a huge part of your brain and your heart cell membranes are literally built out of a fat that most people don't get enough of, you'd probably look at your last few meals a little differently. That fat is omega-3, and depending on how you eat, you might be running on a lot less than your body would like. In this video, you're going to learn what omega-3 actually is, what it does inside your body, how to get it from food, when a supplement might make sense, and how to use it safely. Quick reminder, this is general education, not personal medical advice. Always talk with a qualified health professional before starting or changing any supplements or medications. Let's start with what omega-3 actually is. Imagine every one of your cells wearing a little jacket. That jacket is the cell membrane, and it's made mostly of fats. Some fats make the jacket stiff and rigid, and some fats make it flexible and fluid. Omega-3 fats are the flexible kind. They help your cell jacket stay soft and bendy so signals can move in and out smoothly. When people say omega-3 is good for your brain and heart, what they really mean is that it's part of the physical structure that lets those organs work properly. There are three main types of omega-3 you'll hear about: ALA, EPA, and DHA. ALA is the plant version, mostly in seeds, nuts, and some oils. EPA and DHA are the marine versions, mostly in fatty fish and algae. Your body can turn a little of the plant type, ALA, into the marine types, EPA and DHA, but that process is pretty inefficient. That's why you hear so much more emphasis on fish and algae when people talk about omega-3 supplements.
How does omega-3 actually work in your body? Let's keep it to three simple ideas. First, structure. Remember those cell jackets? EPA and DHA fit into the membranes of your brain, heart, eyes, and many other tissues. A flexible membrane helps nerve cells talk to each other, supports normal vision, and allows receptors, like hormone receptors, to move around and do their job. Second, signaling. Your body uses omega-3 to make tiny chemical messengers that help calm down low-grade inflammation. Inflammation is your body's defense and repair system. You need some, but when it's stuck on all the time, that's a problem. Omega-3 helps shift things toward a more balanced, resolving state. Third, circulation. In some people, omega-3 can help support healthy blood triglyceride levels and keep blood platelets from clumping too easily. That's one reason it's linked with heart health, though it's not a magic shield against heart attacks. Now, can your body make omega-3 by itself? Short answer, no. Omega-3 is considered essential, which means your body has to get it from food or supplements. You can convert some plant-based ALA into EPA and DHA, but factors like genetics, sex, age, overall diet, and health status all affect how well you do this. For many people, only a small percentage actually gets converted. Things like very high intakes of omega-6 vegetable oils, lots of trans fats, heavy alcohol use, or digestive issues can all work against you. So it's safer to assume you need to bring in some pre-formed omega-3 regularly, especially EPA and DHA. Let's talk practical food sources and daily habits. If you eat fish, the richest sources of EPA and DHA are the oily, fatty fish: salmon, sardines, mackerel, herring, anchovies, and trout. A portion of about 100 grams of fatty fish once or twice a week can get many people close to the basic minimum of around 250 to 500 milligrams per day of combined EPA and DHA that many health groups suggest for general adults. That usually looks like 2 fish meals per week, about 200 to 250 grams total of fatty fish. If you are more into plants, focus on ALA sources. That means ground flaxseed, chia seeds, walnuts, hemp seeds, and oils like canola or soybean oil. A common practical habit is 1 to 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed or chia per day, sprinkled on yogurt, oats, or salads, plus a small handful of walnuts a few times per week. That supports your overall omega-3 intake and gives your body some raw material to convert, though it still may not fully replace fish or algae sources for EPA and DHA.
So when is food enough, and when might a supplement be useful? If you regularly eat fatty fish 2 or more times per week, don't have major health conditions that change your needs, and your lab work looks good, food may very well be enough. If you rarely or never eat fish, follow a vegetarian or vegan diet, dislike seafood, or have higher needs because of a specific condition your doctor's managing, a supplement might make sense. For supplements, you'll see different forms: standard fish oil, triglyceride or ethyl ester forms, krill oil, and algae-based oils for people who avoid fish. The most important thing is not the total milligrams of fish oil on the front of the bottle, but how much EPA and DHA you actually get per serving. A very typical 1,000 milligram fish oil capsule often contains only around 300 milligrams of total omega-3, and even less of that is pure EPA and DHA. So if your goal is 250 to 500 milligrams of EPA plus DHA per day, you might need 1 to 2 capsules, depending on the brand. Most people do well taking omega-3 with a meal that contains at least a little fat. Fat in the meal helps you absorb the oil and can reduce burping or fishy aftertaste. Taking it on an empty stomach may be more likely to cause discomfort. If you use medications that block fat absorption, like some weight loss pills, they can also block omega-3 absorption, so timing matters. In that case, you'd usually separate the supplement from the medication, but always confirm the plan with your doctor or pharmacist. Quality and cost also matter. Look for products that mention some form of third-party testing for purity and heavy metals on the label or website. That doesn't guarantee perfection, but it's a good sign. You don't have to buy the most expensive product on the shelf. A basic tested fish oil or algae oil with clear EPA and DHA amounts can be quite affordable, often working out to roughly the price of a few coffees over a month for a standard dose.
Who is most likely to need to pay attention to omega-3? Let's start with deficiency signs and risk groups. True, severe deficiency is rare in well-nourished adults, but low or suboptimal intake is very common. Possible signs can be dry, rough skin, dry eyes, brittle hair, more joint stiffness than expected for your age, low energy, or difficulty concentrating. These are very non-specific symptoms, though, so they can have many other causes. People at higher risk include those who never eat fish, people who live on fast food and processed snacks high in omega-6 oils, individuals on very low-fat diets, and those with gut conditions that affect fat absorption, like certain types of inflammatory bowel disease or after some bariatric surgeries. You can do a simple self-check. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1. How many times in the last month did you eat a portion of oily fish, like salmon, sardines, or mackerel? 2. How often do you eat plant sources like flax, chia, or walnuts? 3. What are your main cooking oils and snack choices? If the answers are almost never for fish and rarely for seeds and nuts, and you rely heavily on deep-fried foods and chips, there's a good chance your omega-3 intake is on the low side. If you're curious about your levels, you can talk to your doctor about blood tests. Some labs offer an omega-3 index or a red blood cell fatty acid profile. This test looks at how much EPA and DHA is actually built into your red blood cell membranes. Doctors might also look at your triglycerides and other lipids when thinking about omega-3, especially if they are deciding whether a higher dose is appropriate for you. Let's bring this to life with a few quick personas. First, the budget eater. You're trying to save money, you eat a lot of pasta, bread, and the occasional fast food burger, and fish feels expensive. For you, canned fish is your best friend. Canned sardines, mackerel, or salmon are usually much cheaper than fresh fish and still rich in omega-3. You could aim for 1 small can, maybe 80 to 100 grams twice a week, added to rice, salads, or on toast. If you still fall short, a basic supermarket fish oil capsule, taken with your main meal, might cover the gap without breaking the bank.
Second, the vegan or strict vegetarian. You're not going to eat fish, and that's totally okay, but you do need a strategy. You'd focus on ALA, daily ground flax or chia, walnuts several times a week, and choosing oils with some omega-3 like canola. Because conversion to EPA and DHA is limited, many vegans choose an algae-based omega-3 supplement that provides DHA, sometimes with EPA as well, often in the 250 to 500 milligram per day range. That way you get the same marine-type omega-3 your brain and eyes love without using fish. Third, someone with a health condition, like high triglycerides or a history of heart disease. In these situations, doctors sometimes use higher doses of EPA and DHA in the range of 2 to 4 grams per day, but that should always be prescription strength or under close medical supervision, because at those doses, the balance of benefits and risks is more delicate. Over-the-counter supplements alone aren't a replacement for that type of medical treatment. Now, what does the research actually say? Overall, the evidence that omega-3 helps support healthy triglyceride levels and is involved in heart health is fairly strong, especially at higher doses in people who already have heart disease or high triglycerides. Studies often follow hundreds to thousands of people over several years and look at things like heart events and blood markers. For mood and brain health, the evidence is more mixed. Some trials show improvements in symptoms like low mood or attention, especially in people who are very low in omega-3 to start with, while others show little or no effect. When it comes to preventing dementia, cancer, or long-term chronic diseases in healthy people, the data is still early or inconsistent. We can say omega-3 plays important structural and signaling roles, but we can't promise it will prevent specific diseases in every person. There's also a limit to what we know about very high doses taken for many years. Some more recent analyses have raised questions about a slightly higher risk of certain heart rhythm problems, like atrial fibrillation, in people taking high doses, especially above 1 gram per day of EPA plus DHA, and especially if they already have heart rhythm issues. That doesn't mean omega-3 is dangerous for everyone, but it's another reason not to assume more is always better and to keep your healthcare team in the loop.
Let's talk safety and interactions in a more practical way. The most common side effects are mild and include fishy burps, aftertaste, mild stomach discomfort, or loose stools, especially if you jump straight to a high dose. These are the things you're most likely to notice, and they often improve if you take the supplement with food, split the dose, or try a different brand or enteric-coated capsule. Less commonly, some people notice increased bruising or nosebleeds if they're on high doses, because omega-3 can slightly thin the blood. That's usually only an issue when combined with blood-thinning medications or when doses go well above everyday amounts. Medication interactions to know about: if you're on blood thinners like warfarin, clopidogrel, newer anticoagulants, or you take daily aspirin for your heart, you must talk to your doctor before adding a fish oil supplement, especially above 1 gram per day. Omega-3 may increase bleeding tendency, and your dosing might need adjustment. If you take drugs that lower blood pressure, large doses of omega-3 may push your pressure a bit lower, so monitor for dizziness. If you're on medicines that block fat absorption, like certain weight loss medications, taking omega-3 at the same time may reduce how much you absorb. Special situations. During pregnancy and breastfeeding, moderate omega-3 intake is generally considered beneficial for fetal and infant brain and eye development, especially DHA, but you want to avoid high mercury fish and be cautious with fish liver oils that are very high in vitamin A. Pregnant and breastfeeding people often need slightly higher DHA, but it should be done under guidance from a prenatal provider or dietitian. Older adults can benefit from omega-3 as part of overall healthy aging, but they're also more likely to be on multiple medications, so interactions matter more. Clear red flags where you should stop a supplement and seek medical help include sudden easy bruising or bleeding, black or tarry stools, vomiting blood, a new irregular or racing heartbeat, chest pain, severe shortness of breath, or sudden weakness on one side of the body. These aren't omega-3 side effects. They're emergency signs, and they always deserve urgent attention.
Before we wrap up, let's do a quick myth-busting lightning round. Myth 1. If the label says 1,000 milligrams of fish oil, you're getting 1,000 milligrams of omega-3. Not true. Only part of that is active EPA and DHA, so you have to read the fine print on the supplement facts. Myth 2. Flaxseed gives you the exact same omega-3 as fish. Also not true. Flax gives you ALA, which your body can only partially convert to EPA and DHA, so it's helpful but not identical. Myth 3. If some omega-3 is good, Huge doses must be better. That's where people get into trouble. Past a certain point, benefits level off and risks like bleeding or heart rhythm issues can creep up. Let's bring it all together. Omega-3 is an essential fat that your body uses to build cell membranes, calm down low-grade inflammation, and support normal brain and heart function. You mainly get EPA and DHA from fatty fish and algae, and ALA from seeds, nuts, and some oils. Most adults do well aiming for roughly 250 to 500 milligrams per day of combined EPA and DHA, usually from 2 servings of fatty fish per week or from a mix of food and a moderate supplement. Quality, dosing, and timing with food matter, and there are real safety considerations if you're on certain medications or have specific health conditions. One concrete action you can take today is this. Look at your next week of meals and intentionally plan 2 fatty fish meals. Or, if you don't eat fish, decide on a daily plant omega-3 habit plus a conversation with your doctor about whether an algae-based supplement is right for you. If you already have a bottle of fish oil at home, turn it around, find the EPA and DHA line, and see how much you're actually taking. How often do you eat fish right now, and are you using any omega-3 supplement? What have you noticed, good or bad? Share your experience in the comments so others can learn from it. Let us know what supplement you would like to learn about it next.